Hey y'all. Alright, I told you I'd show you guys the garden. So I'm doing what I said I was going to do. Um, I have some successes, I have some failures, I have some I don't know what's going on. So we'll try and get through this as quickly as possible. We'll start in the same place that we started before, or I think so, in the tomato part. So I've got my little marigolds once again, and as you guys can see, these marigolds are just strong. They are doing excellent. They're gorgeous. They're beautiful. I love them. I'm going to try and find seeds for these online and buy these again. I don't like regular marigolds very much, but these are awesome. They keep their blooms for a super long time. They're super steady. The leaves don't die. They're amazing. Okay, so this here is the Roma Tomato. You guys, look how big it's gotten since the last time I showed you guys. And it is a producer. So here you can see I've got flowers all over it. And if we get close inside of here, let me see if I can get in here. There we go. Can you guys see all those tomatoes there? I got a baby right there. And then I got, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4 back there. Oh, and then I have a baby here. I have a baby here. And then I still have 1, 2, 3, 4 more florets or flowerets, or I don't know what you would call them. Oh, one of them broke on that stem. If I come up a little bit more, let's see, can we get in here? I can barely see what I'm recording here. It's hard doing this with your phone in the sun. There we go. And I've got more back there on that stem that are growing. And I have a ton more flowers there for them to come out of. I got a stem up here where they're producing from. I have another stem coming out over there. So this one here is a super producer. I've got a stem up here. So tons of Roma tomatoes coming out on that plant. So excited. I will get some more fertilizer, and I'm going to fertilize it because tomatoes are very heavy feeders. And I also have flowers in here, so there's it's taking up a lot of potassium, I'm imagining, since potassium, if I'm correct, is what creates flowering and fruiting. So I will feed them again in a little bit just to make sure they get enough. I think I'll put some worm castings around the base of the tomato plants. I'm not going to worry so much about the marigolds. But this is the yellow tomato plant that I thought I had killed. I ended up taking all of the branches off of the bottom. You can see there I ended up taking off from the back. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. I ended up having to cut off 4 branches. Oh, and there's a 5th branch here that I removed. And once I removed all 5 of those branches, I just left like the decent leaves up towards the top. So it kind of looks like a tomato tree now instead of a tomato plant. But once I cut off the like dying branches, or the branches that had like what looked like dying leaves, I finally started putting flowers on this thing. I was thinking about ripping this out of the ground and putting another Roma tomato plant here because this was just doing so bad. But look at that. I have a flower, which means fruiting. And this is just growing, and it's putting on more and more of those fruits. And then up here towards the top, I have newer growth. And if you look right here, I don't know if I can zoom in that well there. Nah, you really can't see it. There we go. There are some more little florets or little flower. There's another stem that's coming out that looks like it's going to be flowers. So this is finally producing. I'm very excited. Let's move over to the onions. So this is the onion patch. I think I'm learning my lesson that mulching is necessary. It's summertime. It's in the 90s here in Chicago, and I'm just having to water constantly. The onions are having some issues. Some of them are doing really good. Some of them are doing really bad. But I'm trying to leave everything in so I can see what's happening. As you can see, these onions in the front seem to be doing the best. Whereas when I first started looking, the onions in the back were doing the best. And I think it's because the onions in the front get partial shade through part of the day. As you can see, they're getting shade in the front part of the bed while the back part of the bed is just beaming hot. And I think that they like having a little bit of shade throughout the day. As you can see, they're actually getting kind of large. Like, wow, I'm very excited. Some of them are not so large. Some of them are a little smaller. But whatever, you know, last year I couldn't grow an onion at all, so this is the best that I've done. The ones in the back aren't doing so good, and the leaves are yellowing, and I think it might just be way too much sun. It might be way too hot, and I don't have any shade cloth to give them, so we're just gonna let them go and see what happens. These two over here, Am I even viewing them? I don't know. These two here, there's this one here and that one back there. I thought they were dying, but they have not died. They've put on a couple extra things. They're still going. They're not getting big though, but I'm leaving them in there just to see what happens. I'm not pulling them out. Now I did pull one out today that was in this space right here, and that's the one I have in my hand here. So I'd like to show you guys this little onion. Let me get in the shade here so you can see it. So see that? Look, it's just like a little, it looks like what when you buy like pearl onions, when you get pearl onions in a bag of peas, that's what it looks like. But the reason I pulled it out is because the stem fell over, and once a stem falls over, that's it. There's going to be no more growth out of that onion. So I pulled it out and I will eat it. But that is my first onion that I've harvested. Isn't that kind of cool? I think it's cool. I'm very excited about it. It is really hot. I'm going to water this in a minute because it's really dried out. The sun is leaching a lot of the water out of the bed because I don't have mulch. All right, over to the greens bed. The mustard greens I ended up having to pull out. They bolted so fast. The rainbow chard, rainbow Swiss chard is doing amazing. I have harvested quite a few leaves off of the rainbow Swiss chard, and this rainbow Swiss chard is delicious, and it is still holding on. It is still doing excellent. I cannot wait for more production to happen. Here go my two collard greens, and as I told you guys, I cut them way back to the bare minimum. They don't look so great. I think that the heat is just really starting to take their toll on them. The constant sun, the constant heat. You can see they're just getting kind of beat up here. I think it's just getting too hot for them, but they have not bolted. So if they'll stand through this and make it to the cooler weather, then hopefully they'll start producing amazingly again. But after I took everything off, I think the sun has just been too much. It's gotten so hot. Over to the Dino Kale. The Dino Kale is still doing amazing. My goodness, Dino Kale, it seems like will grow in any condition. But yeah, so I had taken a lot of the leaves off and left a couple of these like outer leaves, and the inner leaves are really starting to produce and grow again. It just doesn't seem to matter. They are really, really prolific. I sprayed them down with a little bit more BT, and I don't know, these Dino Kale are just very sturdy, very strong, and they're pretty tasty. In the place of the mustard greens, I put some other kind of kale. This is like that big leaf kale. I grew this last year, and it's not standing up so well to the heat. I don't think it's very heat tolerant. It is very sad looking, but I'm gonna leave it there because it's still producing something, and so I can take the leaves off tender, tender, and eat them. But they're very tender. They're not getting hard. I think maybe curly kale would have been a better idea than that softer leaf kale. The Victoria Blues, you guys, look at how they bushed out. They are so beautiful. Like, they really add a little something to the garden. I'm very glad that I brought these flowers into the garden. There we go. They are so pretty. They really make the area just a little bit more beautiful. And I think that from now on, that's something that I'll do is I'll plant my vegetables and I'll just plant some flowers in front of everything. Yeah. Onions, I'll figure something out with onions. If I have to grow here next year, I think I'll grow them over there on the side where I get partial shade throughout the day. Some sun and then some shade so that they do better than those did. But anyway, the pepper plants are looking pretty good. They have gotten so big, haven't they? My goodness. They're looking very healthy. Last year I had some disease. This year not so much, but it's been very hot this year. So I just have to watch these plants and make sure that they're getting enough water, not too much water. It's really hot, and I don't know if you can see there. There it is. They're starting to drop some of the blossoms, which is what they did last year, but then I have some other ones that are holding on pretty strong, like that one there. And then right over here on the red pepper plant, see that one there? That I think is going to definitely be a pepper because it hasn't turned yellow. It's not looking like it's about to fall off, and it looks like maybe there's a fruit growing within there. So I think I am getting some fruiting on my pepper plants, and I should start to see some fruit soon. And I do have 3 plants there. That's why I have the 3 stakes. Each stake is for a plant. And then over to the cucumber, which is looking kind of sad. I need to water the cucumber as well because it's in a pot, and this thing dries out like crazy. I have to water it almost every day now that we're like in the 90s. But y'all, I'm getting production on the cucumber plant. I am letting it keep most of its suckers because I only have the 1 plant. And so I'm just doing my best to trellis them. I tried to make this homemade trellis. It's pretty ghetto. It's like falling in. I just, you know, it's hard when you're working on a balcony. But whatever. It's doing something, and I'm doing my best. But here we go. I've got a little cucumber. Can you guys see that? Can you see my little cucumber that's growing? So I'm very excited about that. That's 1. I have another cucumber. There it is. Down in there. Yay! And I did do some hand pollinating because I wanted to make sure that I was actually going to get cucumbers. But then I also have 1 right here. Is that showing? Yeah, it is. There we go. 1 cucumber there. So that's 3 so far. I do have some other promises. I have a lot of boy flowers. At first I was like, I'm only getting boys, but I realized that you have to have a lot of boys to make sure there's enough boys to pollinate the girls, right? And so I am getting some more girls that I need to pollinate soon. And I can't find them right now, but whatever. You guys don't need to see that. Just wanted to show you that I am getting production out of the garden finally. Pretty soon we'll have some actual peppers to show you. I was able to show you some tomatoes. I'm able to show you that with the yellow tomato, even if your tomatoes aren't looking good, don't give up on them. You know, love them, talk to them, let them know that you care. And when you start seeing fresh, good green growth out of them, then cut off the dead branches and let all the energy go to the good branches. And you should start to see fruit production if you've done a good job amending your soil before you get your plants into the ground, right? Onions, I think I've learned that they need partial shade throughout the day. Maybe not too much, but they need a little bit. It looks like if they're in the sun full time, maybe they don't do so great. It looks like they definitely don't like being buried all the way in the ground. They're going to come out of the ground. That's okay. The ones I pushed down in the ground weren't so good. Swiss chard and Dino Kale will stand up to the hot summer temperatures. Flowers in your garden are an awesome idea. They make the garden look pretty. And cucumbers are amazing. That's all I have for y'all today. Oh, and my little onion. I'll just show it to you one more time because I'm so darn excited about it. I can't even focus on it, can I? It's focusing on the background instead of the onion. Anyway, you guys, you see this little tiny space I have? I just have this little tiny balcony. That's it. That's my whole space area, okay? But I'm doing the best that I know how with the little space that I have. So please, 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 if you have any space, even the railings, right? If I'm here next year, I'll utilize my railings as well. I couldn't find things to go on the railings. My railings are so thin, but I think that I'm going to get some pots that can go on the railings and maybe do like herbs on the sides where it's a little bit shadier, and see what I can get that'll be heat tolerant, put it along the edges and just make it look pretty. Also, I think I'm going to do more vining things like the cucumber, and I'm going to focus on getting some chicken wire. That's if I'm here next year. Get some chicken wire and create like a barrier along here, like something where I can place the chicken wire so that I have a way of trellising things. And if I do that, I should have a way of hopefully putting up stakes for things that have a hard time staying up in just the bed itself. I definitely have some challenges. Like, I don't know how to stake the tomatoes very well. Last year my stakes didn't do so great. In this year I'm not able to figure out how to keep stakes in the ground that are strong enough to hold those tomato plants up. But it doesn't matter. I'm still trying. I'm still giving it my all, and I'm getting production, and I'll just keep on adjusting to the best of my ability, but I won't give up, and I am getting food. All right, that's it. Peace out. Grow something.